First of all, I went to the conference, the summit that you produced a year ago. And I did it because I was working on some energy projects. And as you know, I don't work on energy projects like you. I paint pictures.
Yes.
But the inputs helped me a lot, and I met a lot of people that were very helpful to me. Now, you have another conference coming up on June 29th, again at Stanford. Is there a theme?
It's really the important things that are happening in the energy system that people can take back home to their own businesses and to their homes, things that they can do, but also the knowledge about what's happening at the state level and the federal level. So we've covered a lot of different areas from the national perspective, starting with ex-Secretary of Defense William Perry, who's now the chairman of the Secretary of Energy's Advisory Board.
So that's a federal agency.
That's a federal agency.
So if I'm an executive in a corporation or in a government, if I want to get a sense as to what the Fed's policies are, what changes might be, I want to listen to Bill Perry.
You also listen to Senator Bingaman, who is chairman of the Senate Energy Committee, who's coming out expressly to talk with our conference, to be the ending speaker. But we have state-level people that,
this
as well.
Bingaman, the senator. What am I going to learn from him?
You'll get an image of somebody who's been a deeply thoughtful person about where he thinks things may have a hope of going at the federal level in energy, and that can shape what happens in our companies, in our lives, and in our state. I don't know exactly what he's going to talk about.
So it's going to fill in that puzzle of missing information that we need to make decisions. And, you know, I have the list here, but let's see. We have somebody from Facebook, and if I understand, and please correct me, this woman is the lead person for Facebook who's developing relationships with big organizations to make Facebook technology available to them and to us.
Well,
you tell me.
Marcy Scott Lynn is the sustainability manager for Facebook, and she has a broad portfolio of things that you can use Facebook to improve general sustainability. This is a session she's going to be part of on social networking for energy, because as you understand, social networking has become very, very powerful. Well, how can it now be harnessed for energy efficiency or for other actions people may take in the energy area?
So social networking people were connecting people together, and now they're spreading out to connect devices and processes and energy with each other, as well as big organizations to improve their lives, and something like that?
Well, one of the things that is happening is O-Power is having a Facebook app that they've introduced, so you can now go in with your friends and start comparing energy use, have competitions of who can cut back energy.
Who's OPAC?
O-Power is a company, actually, that you often get inserts in your electric bill that says how your electricity is in comparison to other people. O-Power is a company that does that. Okay. Well, now you can use Facebook as an app in order to be able to do that comparison with your friends, not just the other people in your community.
So for getting more information about how to do this and what Facebook is doing, it's good to go. By the way, what's the URL for your event?
SVES.
Yes.
.stanford.edu. SVES is the initials of Silicon Valley Energy Summit.
Yeah.
SVES.stanford.edu.
Okay. And then I see there is this Admiral Roughhead.
Yes.
And I look at this, and it says that he was the head of the entire U.S. naval fleet.
He was the chief of naval operations, so all naval operations came under him, recently retired. And you say, why is he in an energy summit? Well,
Yes.
one of the most aggressive organizations in energy efficiency right now is the U.S. Navy. They have repainted a lot of their planes with more energy efficient paint because a plane that uses less fuel can have missions at a longer distance and be much more effective as a fighting plane. If a ship uses less fuel, it can stay on battle station for a longer time. The Navy's aggressive for renewable fuels for its ships. Why are they doing that? They want our nation, as well as the Navy, to be less vulnerable to reductions in oil availability. And if we have more renewable fuels, we're less vulnerable. So we're going to hear a little bit about this very aggressive work going on in the Navy.
Yeah. So at first, I'd say I don't relate to anyone who owns 10,000, 50 ships. But then, as I think about it, we're going to hear somebody who has an army, a navy of people who have been thinking about these big issues of how do you handle all these vehicles that they have. And I mean, we all have either one vehicle or many vehicles, old corporations, and we get ideas for how we can take some of it and do some of the things they're doing and be more effective. And then I noticed there is this fellow named Josh Green of Moore and
David Dow Ventures.
And
Venture capitalists. One of the things that are important in Silicon Valley is opportunities for investment in the energy space, in the green tech space, in alternative fuel vehicles, electric vehicles. Tesla is a wonderful example of that. So he's a venture capitalist who's making decisions that'll help either fund or not fund new ventures in the clean tech space. Another venture capital, we have Nancy Fund from DBL Investors who will be speaking to us. So we have a really good connection to the venture capital and the financing area. We have Larry Kelly of the Band of Angels. We'll talk about angel investing here in the clean tech space.
okay, and these are basically keynote speakers that you're referring for the most part.
No, those are panel speakers too.
The panel speakers.
Some of them are keynote speakers, some are panelists. We're going to have 3 parallel panels going on, dealing with things like electrification of vehicles, with the local control of electricity and the significance of that, what universities are doing around here, and good opportunities for corporations and what they can do to do better in energy.
Electrification of vehicles interests me enough to go, even though I'm going as you know, because I have a relationship with you, but it interests me, and me in particular, because I want to make a few very important paintings inspired by the electrification of vehicles. And for me, related to that, although the horizon is way out, it's the end of the internal combustion engine. By the way, so now I want to ask you, is it proper for me to think about the coming of the electric car and vehicles, other vehicles, and the beginning of the end of the internal combustion engine? Or am I just a little too spacey?
It's going to happen slower than you think. Hybrid electric vehicles, around here you see them and you think there's so many of them, they must be breeding overnight. Mm-hmm. However, the market share after them being on the market for 12 years is less than 3% nationwide. Electric vehicles have challenges that hybrids don't have. Range anxiety is real. If you run out of electricity, you're out of electricity, and it doesn't fill up very quickly. We need to have much better batteries. And battery technologies is something that people in the Silicon Valley have been working on, but those can make a lot of difference. Charging stations, we have somebody from Coulomb Technologies that are talking about the opportunities from charging stations will be part of that panel. So it's the infrastructure we need as long as the vehicles. It's going to be a slow movement, but ultimately, I think ultimately we're going to move to all electric vehicles and there'll be no internal combustion vehicles. But ultimately, it's a long time from now.
And you said it's going to happen longer than I. Now, you don't assume too many things. I've noticed you're very careful. But I have a long horizon. I'm not going to be here when some of those things happen.
Neither will I.
Yeah,
however, we can look forward to it, and our kids and grandchildren can really get the fruits of what's happening now. I mean, the energy system is so massive, it doesn't change quickly. But does that mean you don't try to change it? No, it means that the little changes you make now will have long-term, very fundamental changes, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, now I'm going to go to your summit in part because I want to network and meet a lot of these very interesting people, and then my special interest is in the electrification of vehicles. But my same interest of meeting wonderful people who open new vistas of opportunities is good for everyone to go to your event. And before I close the show, I just want to briefly ask you, can I have that URL again?
SVES.stanford.edu.
And then I want to say thank you. You've honored me greatly by inviting the use of my painting, my 24-foot painting, Sustainability, at your organization. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having it, because that's going to be a very special thing. You know, most of the talks will communicate with words and PowerPoints. This will communicate with images that hopefully will touch people.
Great. You've been a great guest. Hi, my guest has been Jim Sweeney. He is the head of the Precourt Energy Efficiency Center at Stanford. And on June 29th, he and a powerful group of federal, state, and industry and venture capital folks are putting on a truly wonderful event. He would like to meet all of you, and so would I, and I'm Michael Killen.